Almost made it, 5 feet.
Is this a good idea?
There's no way we can go now.
Peter and Dan here from the Adventure Guys channel. For the past 5 years, we've been living off the grid and overlanding to some of the most remote places on Earth. Join us as we continue on the journey, bringing you an all-new perspective from the saddle of our adventure bikes.
All right, so change of plans. We're actually going to be heading farther down this trail, Onion Creek. Going to see what's up ahead. I switched into my Climb Badlands Pro set. Pretty excited to have this thing back. We left it in Montana when we were heading into the desert because it was going to be warmer, so we were going to wear our armor. But now that it's getting a lot colder, last night was freezing, it's nice to have the stuff again, and I'm pretty excited to ride in it. Yeah. Peter's staying in his armor though.
With a great camp behind us and the unknown ahead, we head on down the trail to see what the day has in store.
This is like what we should drone.
This is nice, eh?
Yeah.
Super cool area. It's beautiful in here.
Everywhere you go, the views are just amazing.
Yeah, and this terrain is perfect for riding.
Little did we know that just ahead, the trail would get a lot more interesting.
Like a road.
I think it's safe to say Peter is a little more excited about this unexpected challenge than I am.
That looks like a hill.
Yeah.
I'll give it a try. Huh?
You just gonna go?
Yeah. We'll see.
Peter decides to tackle the hill first to see if it's passable for the rest of the combo.
Almost made it, 5 feet.
Halfway up the hill, Peter decides to shed some weight and give it another try.
Goody.
Wait, let me go.
It melted the epoxy.
No.
Let go.
Is this a good idea?
There's no way we can go now. There's so much pressure on it. It wouldn't have held. Well, that's really annoying. With my case getting punctured by my brake last time I fell, I had to just do a quick repair while we're waiting for a case to actually come in with JB Weld, but because of the heat that the bike was getting to, and then I guess the pressure that built up against that JB Weld, it split it right open and it started spraying out as I started to gain traction again. I don't know, just a big issue when you're doing stuff like this is the only way to get traction control on is you have to move a little bit, and then you can hold the button and it'll turn traction control off. But and that's what you want here, because you get no traction, but you still want the tire to keep moving until it grips something as you're pushing it up these loose rocks. But when I tipped over once, I shut off the bike, turned it on, and that resets itself. So then I couldn't move forward enough at once for it to realize that it was moving so that I could shut off the traction control. So then it stayed on that whole time. That's why I couldn't move it at all, no matter how much gas I gave, or even using the clutch to try to bounce over rocks and stuff. I couldn't get it to move. So I hopped off and started pushing it, but right as I did that, it had gotten hot enough that it split that JB Weld and it started leaking in. So super, super annoying. The top is right there anyway, and yeah, we didn't re-gear. I forgot to order the stuff when I had the chance, chain and sprockets and stuff, and that probably would have helped a lot in this situation. I'm gonna have to let this thing cool down for however long that takes, and then use something like soap or maybe JB Weld again to just plug it enough to run down this hill and make it out of this trail, and then get the necessary repairs.
Once down the hill, we get to work on a temporary fix that can get Peter's bike back into town.
All right, so we were just looking at Peter's bike a little bit more closely, and you can see with his Outback skid plate, the piece here is right next to it. It's really close to his TJ. It almost looks like this is what shoved his TJ up and kind of split along the bottom. But then compared to mine, you can see how it normally is. There's enough room there for me to fit my finger, and even down here there's a lot more room. So his skid plate must have got shoved up, and that's what ended up cracking his case again. Not sure how though, it's a pretty sturdy piece.
This is at first gonna make it worse, but maybe if I can get
A good seal.
a good seal with
Gentle, don't puncture your piece.
yeah.
Alright. So now we can see what happened the first time. It's not that bad.
It's gonna be ugly, but
We'll have to get a new one.
Alright, so with the Outback Motortrek skid plate, it realized that it was moving up and down like that because it kind of had bumped itself or had just gotten loose. I did put medium strength Loctite on it when we first installed these skid plates, but since then I've been bashing it a bunch, so I probably should have checked it before that. But it's getting really dented down there and everything, so Sean had a whole bunch of tools, so I was able to get an Allen in there and tighten down at least one of the mounting screws. And that made it tight enough so that when I'm punching it, it doesn't move up and down. That's how loose it was before, so that'll at least hold it from, if I do hit a rock, hopefully it won't move up enough to mess with the new JB weld. But these two pieces especially our Outback Motortrek stuff has really saved the bikes from so much since we've been, we're really pushing our skills all the time, so I'm always dropping it. We're always in spots where we're sliding down big slick rock hills or dropping on hills like what's behind me here. But you can really tell that the crash bars have taken a beating, and the skid plate certainly has, but it's really saved the bike. So those two pieces are probably the most worth it pieces on the bike we've ever put on, and yeah, they're really well made. And then on top of that, Trail Jammer Designs, these are really nicely made. I just like how they are. They're super lightweight and they protect a whole bunch. I could really see what it did when I took it off, because you can see like it got chunked in, it got punctured and dented here, but nothing's dented on my actual crankcase, and it's only a teeny little puncture, so it saved it from really bad damage the first time. So really happy with all this stuff, but I probably will be replacing it soon. I think either get the skid plate like sent back to them and they'll rebend it, or get a new one, and then definitely new trail jammers on there. But yeah, happy all around, really.
With a temporary fix complete and the sun setting, we are back on the trail.
Looks like Peter's temporary fix will probably hold until we at least get to the flatter sections of this trail here. And then he's probably going to trailer it back into town. But the sun's starting to go down. It's going down really early nowadays. I think it's only like 4 or 5. But you can definitely feel it's getting a lot colder.
Since we've never worn these jackets before, you look so cool from the back because you're fully lit up, like you're all bright because of your reflectiveness on your jacket. And then even the bag, the Lone Rider bag, is like pew.
How cold are your hands?
Freezing. Let's go.
My hands are so cold, I'm not gonna be able to use them.
I know, just make sure you can at least use your clutch. I don't know if you can hear this. I have to yell, but it is freezing. My fingers are numb, and so are my lips.
Now that we made it out of Onion Creek, wet and cold, we left our bikes running and heated our hands with our exhaust, and made our way back to Moab to head out early the next day to the Valley of the Gods.
Yeah, so there's this spot, and then there's also that flat one down there.
Beauty. So if there's not enough room here, then we can spread out. Man, how cool was that? Finally, we're driving through Valley of the Gods, eh?
I know, didn't we talk about this last time we were here?
Yeah, that was almost 3 years ago now. Maybe it was 2019. Yeah. So 2 years ago.
Yeah. Wow.
Good to be back. Last time we were here, I saw that guy in the Triumph and then Africa Twin go past.
Yeah.
And we were just like, oh.
Could you imagine?
Yeah.
Let's not go climbing any buttes.
No.
All right, so we're set up here. It seemed like my GoPro died as we were going down, or I don't really know when. This spot that we came into is actually awesome. Like, there's nothing really like Valley of the Gods and Monument Valley area. It's just so cool with all these big buttes everywhere. Beautiful red sand and rock everywhere, and you can just drive and camp right in the middle of it. That's what makes it special.
I've only got the GoPro on my helmet charge right now, so I propped it up there and hopefully it looks good.
Okay. Yeah. And eventually with this, like all the other ones, we'll find the fastest way of getting it set up.
Yeah.
You zip up all the doors? I believe so. Well, probably. Why?
All right, so I just got our bed set up, and it's pretty cozy. I love this tent just for like how big it is, because in our side room, and also it's got all these pockets so we can store stuff on both sides, in here and out here. But inside we got our 2 beds, and then our camp chairs in there if we need them. But even this is like a decent sized room, especially for the height compared to most tents that you get. And then we still have this whole area. Right now we just kind of piled our gear we were riding in the corner and stuff, because it was obviously wet from the rain on the way in. And then we have Peter's bags. Mine are still on my bike outside. Then we set up this ground mat that you can get with the Lone Rider tents for the motos room, since we're not having a motorcycle in here right now, so we have a bit more room to live in, but then also set our gear. And then we got this main door. So there's 3 doors in the moto tent spot. There's the actual like garage doors, that's just where you can drive your bike in, and then obviously there's one on the other side, so you can just drive out from that side in the morning. And then there's also this big door. We do have an awning kit that actually sets us up as a proper awning, but right now we just have it tied to the bike. Since it's raining, we have it where we can just quickly unhook it from his bike and zip it up again. That way we're not getting rain on this whole area. But yeah, it's super, super cozy in here. We're gonna probably cook some little sausages in here. We have enough airflow so we don't die, but this spot was kind of hard to find spots for steaks since there's so many rocks. But that's not really an issue, because we chose to camp on this particular spot, even though it was more rocky, just because of the view. But if we wanted a sandier spot, there's like 3 all around us, and then all across these trails there's more. But yeah, this is why we picked this exact spot. It's just absolutely gorgeous. Valley of the Gods is one of my favorite places, and it's really cool that we're back here, because I think it was in 2019 or so, we were camping in the camping spot right above where this one is. And me and Peter were talking while we were on one of the hikes in this area about how much fun the road in here and this whole area would be to have motorcycles on.
it's just nice gravel roads winding through all of these buttes. And now that we're back here, we actually have the motorcycle, so we can do exactly what we talked about a few years ago. But man, this spot is absolutely amazing. We're gonna probably be heading into Monument Valley, that's still a maybe, tomorrow, and doing that loop. And then either in the morning we're gonna be heading out this way and going through the rest of the Valley of the Gods, or we'll be heading out the way we came, which is still beautiful.
We're gonna be making some food, and just gonna use a jet boil and do a freeze-dried meal, and then maybe we've got some smokies, and I've got this whole little set of, this has a frying pan and a couple different pot sizes in it.
Did you see the cereal one?
Yeah, I know.
Hand
I've
it to me?
never had that. Or this one's granola.
Granola, blueberries, almond milk. So we have another one that says cereal. I'm pretty sure this is just cereal. But I thought it was pretty cool because since it's powdered milk and then everything, well, powdered milk and then cereal and berries, you just pour water in there and you're pretty much eating cereal. So I've never tried one of these before, but we'll see how it is. We have a couple other things.
We've eaten a few, so what do you feel like? Jamaican style jerk with rice and beans and chicken. Shepherd's pie, fettuccine. I'm gonna probably do this. Beef stew, which seems good. Mashed potatoes and gravy with beef, and then mac and cheese.
I think I'm gonna have mashed potatoes with gravy and beef.
So our little pot set here is made by Primus, and it's an epic little set because you have two different sizes of pots, one of which you can use as a cup, and a frying pan, all made out of very thin, nice little titanium plates. But the handles, obviously you can see how that would slide into there, and that becomes a handle for the frying pan. And then inside here is a second pot. This is the second little pot, and what I would use as a cup, and then a big pot, which can take, it looks like probably easy a liter of water. A big pot for cooking stuff. So we have these little smokies, like small little sausages, and then the frying pan, which I'll put on here after the water's done boiling. And then we're gonna be using the bags to eat out of, as most people do, but this way we just save ourselves the dishes and other things, so we're just using a fork. It's already starting to rain actually a little bit more here. I might take the awning down and close it up once I'm done cooking, and then it just stays totally dry in here. Yeah, I love the view we have right now. Two cups.
Too much. Oh, 2 cups?
2 cups, exactly.
Well, that's that full thing. So.
480 mils. No, the full thing is 500, so it's pretty convenient that way. Stir it up. You got a spork? Yeah.
Bubbling inside, that means it's nice and hot. Now look at it turning into mashed potatoes.
It's a cozy meal for a rainy day.
Oh, that's why as soon as I saw mashed potatoes with beef and gravy in the store, I bought like 4 of these. That's my kind of meal.
Say what you're doing.
Eating. Wow. It's mashed potatoes with beef and gravy. Like, I'm not joking. It's like, look at that. That's not watery at all. It's an actual like mashed potato. It's really good. Whenever we have to eat one of these, because there's like other options in ramen and stuff, I always prefer it to be something simple like this, where it's just 3 ingredients, not like their tomato curry or something like that. Just because they're really good for what they are, but a lot of people don't like them, so I'd recommend going with simple stuff that's always good, like this sort of thing. Or like beef stew, mac and cheese, chili mac, that sort of thing. But this one's really good.
All right, so it gets dark really quick nowadays since it's winter time and it gets cold. So we're gonna be heading to bed. It's really only, I think, 7 o'clock, but it's just too dark and cold to do anything else. So see you in the morning. This is gonna be a cool drive through Monument Valley and obviously out of Valley of the Gods. It's gonna be amazing. So good night.
Thank you for watching this episode. Stay tuned for our next video as we wrap up our trip in Utah and make our way to the Anza Borrega Desert in California and meet up with a very special group of friends.